getting people who don't know you at all, which in the advertising world we call cold traffic, to give you their hard-earned money is tough. But the biggest brands online that are doing multiple six figures a month have figured out how to make cold traffic offers work. And that's because paid ads unlocks a level of volume and scale that most people just can't touch with their smaller organic followings. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about how do you design cold traffic friendly offers so you can get people on the internet who don't know you, total strangers, aka cold traffic, to become customers and then eventually become very high value clients for your business. Really quick, if you don't know me already, my name is Brice and I have been behind the scenes with info and coaching companies for nearly the last decade now. And so I help my clients with things like their funnels, their ads, their automations, and the systems that help them scale. And on this channel, I just share what I do every single day with my clients. And I have helped my clients generate millions of dollars in sales over the last couple of years. Most of that has come from cold traffic. Now, to get cold traffic offers working, there's really only two types that I would bet my own money on. So let's talk about what those are and how to make them work. Now, really quick, it's worth mentioning the difference between cold and warm traffic, because this is what I see a lot of companies get tripped up on. So we're talking about cold traffic. We're talking about people online who have never heard of you before, meaning the first time they see your ad, they have no idea who you are. They have no like, and trust. They don't know about you or your story or authority or anything like that. Whereas with warm traffic, usually these people have been following you online for a while. They found you maybe through social media, maybe through your ads, whatever it is, but they have like a context and a frame of reference. And the biggest difference here is, again, like what they already know about you and your brand coming into the experience. The reason this makes a huge difference is because what I see most companies do, and where the reason they struggle to get their ads to work, is because oftentimes they have some kind of organic following. And so when they launch an offer to their audience, they're able to say, something more generic and leverage their brand and their relationship in order to get people to move forward. And then when they try to take that exact same offer to cold traffic, people who have never heard of them before, people just don't respond at all. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have some kind of following already, and then you go to your following and you say, hey, you guys, I'm launching a new coaching program that helps you get into Amazon FBA. You know me, I'm an expert in Amazon FBA. You've heard about my experience with Amazon FBA. Come, let me show you how to do the same thing I've been doing. And a bunch of people in their audience who know, like, and trust you raise their hand and say like, hey, I like you. And I want to be like you, and I trust that you could help me do this, so I want to sign up. And they start getting sales. They go to cold traffic, people who've never heard of them before, and they say, hey people, I want to help you get into Amazon FBA. And the internet says, dude, I've heard about this before. Why are you telling me about this? And they just ignore them, right? And so that's what happens when you take a warm traffic offer, something that's designed for your audience, and you go to cold traffic. It's just not built for cold traffic, which brings like the first fundamental principle that I think is really important to understand is when you're going to cold traffic, you want to have an offer that is specifically designed for cold traffic. Again, one of the biggest mistakes that I see companies make is they design something for their warm audience and then they take that to cold traffic and the internet just doesn't respond the way that they expected them to. And oftentimes what this actually looks like is you take an offer, you start running ads to it, and the hardest part is initially right out the gate, you get a couple of sales. And that's because oftentimes you start running ads and Facebook or YouTube or the internet, however these algorithms work, is they start showing your ads to people who kind of already know your brand. Maybe they've engaged with your website, your social media following, whatever it is. And you've started to get your offer out there to what you think is cold targeting on your ads platform. But really, these people do have some familiarity with you. So you get a couple of sales. But then what happens right away is your sales just go down to zero. And that's because you've ran out of your warm audience and now you're advertising to just cold traffic. And these people do not respond the same way. So the solution here is we need to build your entire offer and your entire funnel and the entire system of acquisition for that cold traffic audience. Now, like I mentioned, there's really only two types of offers that I would want to bet my own money on when it comes to running ads to cold traffic right now. And what I'm not saying is that other types of offers or other types of funnels don't work. In my experience, almost everything works in the right context. But again, we are talking about cold traffic offers. So really the first type of funnel that I would run a cold traffic kind of offer to, and that I have seen the best experience with over the last 5 years, is running a high ticket VSL sales call funnel. And the offer that we're running people to is just going straight to some type of high ticket offer. A couple of reasons why I see this work really well. The first one is the economics just work. So if you're just getting started and you're paying even $250 to get someone on a call, but you have a $5,000 or a $7,000 offer, when you do the math, it makes it pretty easy to make this thing work. Because you have that high ticket margin, there's a lot of room to get people in the door. And you can start getting profitable pretty early with these types of funnels. And then as you're optimizing things, you can really make it work. But the other reason that I really like sales call funnels, because the actual ask that you're making online is just to get someone to have a conversation with you. And that really lowers the barrier to entry. And then on a day-to-day basis, like with your advertising campaigns, your number one objective is to just figure out how can you run ads to get quality people to have conversations with you. And I found that when you set things up the right way, like getting people to have conversations with you is not that hard to accomplish. And when your North Star metric is how many quality conversations did you get started today, like that's a really easy thing to get you and a marketing team aligned on and moving in that direction. And it's a pretty easy objective to work towards together. And if you can't even get people to have a conversation with you, like you're doing something wrong with your marketing. The third thing I would say with this one is like these types of funnels are again pretty easy to optimize, oftentimes because one, there's just a lot less moving pieces. I mean, it's like you've got an ad and a VSL. Like these are the two main pieces that you need to optimize. It's pretty easy to optimize and you get a ton of feedback in your sales conversations. So you have transcripts of recordings of people you're having actual conversations with and you're hearing what are the things that are getting them interested in having this conversation? What are the things that are preventing them from wanting to move forward? And so your feedback loop, in order to be able to get good, valuable information from prospects, from the actual words they're using when they're talking to you and your sales team, gives you so much to just iterate and improve your funnel on. And so those are 3 reasons why I really like these types of funnels. And these are probably the most common type of funnel that I've been a part of and been working on for the last 5 years. And again, I've helped companies hit multi-6-figure months just using this one type of funnel, and we're using this to this day. So like this funnel absolutely works. Now, the second type of offer that I would be looking at designing if I was trying to get cold traffic working is a low ticket offer, or also called sometimes like a self-liquidating offer. And this is where we're spending money driving people to a low ticket sale. So usually like under $47 or $97. And our goal here is to try to figure out how do we spend, let's say $1,000 today. And by the end of today, get $1,000 back in our bank account. So we're spending money on ads, we're getting new customers, and we're breaking even on sales. And ideally, because we're breaking even on ads, what we're able to do is anything that we get from that customer in a sale on the back end, as we're increasing LTV, is all just pure profit because we already paid for the acquisition cost. And you see this with all types of offers. So you can do this with like templates, checklists, mini workshops, little trainings, books. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to package up a low ticket offer. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But really the idea is to just give someone a really low barrier to entry, an easy way to say yes, and then you can get them into your world. And again, what you're doing is you're breaking even on ad spend so that you're not paying out of pocket to go acquire new customers. You're building your list with buyers and you can go optimize your LTV from there. And so some of the psychology behind why this works is you're giving people a really low barrier to entry and like an easy way to say yes. So like if you're having a $14 or a $27 offer, it's pretty easy for me to get started with you and see if I like your style and the way you do things. And 2, what it does is it actually gives value to people. So like if I buy a product from you and then I find it really valuable, if I want to know more about that and you have an opportunity for me to work with you, like for me to ascend into other products makes it a lot easier. And so those are like the 2 main funnels that I would be looking at, is either like a high ticket sales call funnel or a low ticket offer. Now, again, there's like 10 other different types of funnels that people run all the time. And I don't want to say that they don't work, but it's like, if you're running a lead magnet to an email follow-up, it's really hard to make those profitable. You get a lot of freebie seekers. You get a lot of people who are just joining the list and there's like a really low value per customer and it's hard to ascend people, especially with email these days. You have webinars, which again, absolutely work for some people. People are great at webinars, or depending on the market and maybe where you're advertising in different countries, like webinars still work, but like we have found it really hard to get cold traffic to show up to a 90-minute, 2-hour webinar. Now, if it's warm traffic, different story, right? But if you're trying to run cold traffic to a webinar, that's not something that I would be really looking into for me. And then the other thing is like challenge funnels or like live events where you're spending a bunch of money up front, you're getting a bunch of people into something, and then you're upselling them back in. All of these things work and they work for different brands. But like for me, again, if it was me trying to design a system to acquire customers, these are the only 2 I would be looking at. So now let's dig in a little deeper into like what actually makes these work and how can you design your offer and what should you be thinking about so that it works for cold traffic. So if you want to make cold traffic work for a high ticket offer, let's say you're running straight to like a sales call funnel. This is probably like one of the most important things I think to understand. This comes from this book called Breakthrough Advertising. Like if you haven't heard about this book or read it, this is like the GOAT of advertising Bibles. And it's definitely worth a great read, or at least like understanding a lot of the concepts from this book. But particularly what this is talking about is like the market sophistication levels and what happens as you enter a market. Skipping to the good stuff, this is pretty much where all of us are at if we are advertising any kind of high ticket offer online, which means we either need to have some kind of upgraded or better or unique mechanism that we are offering people in order to get the result they want, or we need to just be marketing straight up to identities. So let me give you some examples. Let's say I have like a e-com coaching offer and I teach people how to grow their e-com stores. So I either need to have like a better unique mechanism that is like new and different and something they haven't heard of before. So let's go back a couple of years and say like, let's say, like I figured out some completely like untapped TikTok shop organic strategy that no one was doing. And so when I was the first person talking about how to use that unique mechanism, that would be a good way to do it. Alternatively, if we're just going like level 5 into identities, where I would see this being a thing is like, let's say, again, I have that same e-com coaching offer, but I'm instead just advertising this to like young Christians. And we're talking about how this coaching program is helping you, get into entrepreneurship and improve your life and improve your relationship with Jesus and fulfill God's mission and all these things. And the way that we do that is through Amazon FBA. But we're really building a community around young Christians. And then that's the identity that we're marketing to. And so really like if you're going to be advertising any kind of high ticket offer, you're going to be advertising in one of these two places. But this is basically where you have to be operating at if you want to be running some type of VSL sales call funnel these days. So because we're operating at like level 4 or 5 in every single market, that means inside of your advertising campaigns, what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to, one, get someone's attention. So like run an ad that gets someone to actually stop and go, ooh, I haven't seen this before. Maybe this is some new and different way to solve a problem that I would like to solve. Once you do that, you need to sell them on you and you need to sell them on your method. And so the way that we would do this is simply like you are running an ad. So your ad is the thing that gets someone attention. And again, the goal here with any ad is to just not get someone to go, oh, I've seen this before, right? So you have to have something there. And then in your VSL, that's where you're selling them on you and your method and like what you can do for them. So again, going back to why I like sales call funnels is because really it comes like you don't have that many moving pieces to optimize compared to a lot of other funnels and a lot of other touch points. It's really just like you have an ad that you've got to make sure is working and getting the right people in. And then you have a VSL where you're having to sell them on you. So like you are the right expert to help them. You've got the right background, you've got the right positioning and the right authority to help them do this. Being able to like clearly identify the problem that you're helping them solve and the dream outcome you're helping them get to. And then like, what is your unique and different way to do that? If you can nail those couple of pieces, then it's pretty easy to get people on the phone with you. And once you have people on the phone with you, the biggest thing you have is this feedback loop of like your marketing is getting people on the phone and then your sales is telling you what people are thinking about your marketing and like what they're responding to, what they like. And you have this very quick feedback loop. Sorry for the terrible chicken scratch here, but it's like you have this really quick feedback loop telling you if your marketing's working and what you can do to improve it. Again, where most people fail with this is their offer is just too generic. And so by the time someone sees their ad or makes it to their landing page, they're like, oh, I've already seen this before. And like welcome to the internet in 2025. If someone thinks they've already seen it before, you're just going to lose people's attention. But if you can just get creative enough and figure out the right messaging and the right packaging to make people realize that you have something unique and different to help them solve a problem or get to the dream outcome that they want to have, and you're the right person to help them get there, again, it's not hard to start getting people on the phone with that. And by the way, I do have another video in the description that also breaks down like the entire funnel and how we set these things up. So if you want to learn more about this type of funnel, I've got a whole breakdown in the description down below. So moving on to low ticket offers. If we're going to run a low ticket offer and we're going to make this work, the name of the game is it's an impulsive purchase. That's just what it is. Now, whether this is like a mini course or a workshop or a template or a book or whatever it is going to depend on like who is your market and who are you marketing to. But at the end of the day, like it's really about finding the right offer and packaging to make it work. So what I mean by that is it's less about fancy sales, like sales words on a sales page. Although of course that absolutely matters. But like if I would rather test 3 or 5 different offers than test 3 to 5 different sales pages for the same offer. Because if you did that, what you might find is advanced audiences want something more quick, like they want a template or something that they can instantly get quick value from, a checklist, a system, something like that, something they can install. Whereas beginners are oftentimes looking more for like workshops, mini courses, something that they can sit down and consume because that's going to have the solution to a very specific problem that they have. But the idea here with both of these is they're like low risk and easy to get started. So we might see low ticket offers anywhere from like $3 all the way up to like $97 in terms of like what the price is on the sales page. Worth mentioning here is also books. I think books probably go for like beginners and advanced, as long as the book is printed correctly. But like we did nearly $1 million in sales selling a $19 book. So books are just really great low ticket offers when you have all this other stuff we're about to talk about set up correctly. But the things we're trying to figure out here is like we want an easy yes. We want the offer to like stand out so it's not something they've seen before. And it needs to be aligned with what you're selling here on the back end, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But when you can get all this right, a low ticket offer is a great way to make it work. The actual economics of this, which is the biggest thing, is your CPA is less than your AOV. I've got a whole nother video. Again, I'll put that down in the description where I go like deep into this on low ticket funnels. But the thing with low ticket funnels, and if you do a little bit of studying, like next time you see a couple of low ticket offers, go click around. The thing is, they might offer like a $27 thing on the front end. So this is like your low ticket thing. But what you'll always notice is when you get to the order form, it's like, hey, do you want that $27 thing and also this $37 thing? And that's what we call an order bump. So that's like the little box that you can just go ahead and click and add at the cart. Sometimes they'll have multiple of these. They'll be like, oh, do you also want this $19 thing? So these are your order bumps. Then what you'll also always notice is there's always upsells. So it's like, oh, hey, you like that? Do you want this $97 thing? And if you say no, they're like, ooh, well, maybe you want this like $47 thing. And if you say yes, they're like, ooh, and do you want to join this $27 a month thing? Now, the reason they're doing all of this is because this is the true thing that makes low ticket offers work. It is not only about what you're doing here on the front end, although that's the thing that gets people's attention. But the real thing that makes all of this work is everything that happens here. Because this is what we call our economics engineering. What we need to do is engineer a situation so that maybe what we're doing is we're selling like a $7 book on the front end. But when we take into consideration all these different order bumps and upsells and the fact that, maybe like 30% of people will say yes here and 12% of people will say yes here and 10% of people will say yes here. When we take all that into consideration, maybe our AOV is actually $57. I don't know if that math actually maths. I just kind of made up that number right now. But what I'm saying is if the average order value is 57 and we're paying $50 to acquire this $7 customer, this is what makes this actually work, is now our CPA is lower than our AOV, which means every time we get a new customer, we're gaining $7 to put that new customer on our list to get all of these products into their hands so they can start to get value and we can start to sell them on other stuff. Which brings me to the one other thing that makes every front end offer cold traffic friendly, which is none of this works if you don't have a high ticket back end. Like again, low ticket is just a great way to get people in the door to high ticket. But like I've been seeing one guy, he's got a really great low ticket offer and he's been talking about how he's doing like $35,000 a day in sales. He's not doing $35,000 a day just in low ticket sales. He's doing $35,000 a day with his low ticket on the front end and his high ticket on the back end. Because again, if you're only making $7 a customer, and let's say you're getting 20 customers a day, that's $140 in profit a day. I mean, that's nice, but you're not going to go like build a giant team making $3,000 in profit a month. But if you're getting, let's say $140 a day in profit every single day, and you're ascending, let's say 2% of those people into your high ticket program, and your high ticket program costs $5K. I'm not going to actually do the math right now without a spreadsheet, but let's just say, now you're starting to make at $10K a day in sales from your high ticket offer. And that's how you can grow a really good business. Or let's even just put a more realistic number. Let's say you're doing all of this. Your front end offer is, making you a little bit of money every single month, but you're getting 12 new clients every single month, and that you charge $5,000. So that's $60,000 in back end profit. That's really how you make a low ticket offer cold traffic friendly. So going back to kind of sum this up, when you're running your high ticket funnel, you really just have your ad, your landing page, and then you have application calendar process. And then you're having sales conversations. And that is great in order to get things started. What you'll notice here is when you're running the low ticket funnel, while it's awesome when it works, there's a lot of moving pieces in here, but for getting the offer to work on the front end, getting the right order bumps converting, getting the right order upsells, downsells, all of that stuff takes a lot of work and a lot of engineering. And so for that reason, I often tell most people when we're going through this process is we're going to start with our high ticket offer because we're just going to go straight to the thing that we want. And we're going to get some ads up that are hey, do you want to buy this thing? And we're going to start getting new clients every single month that are paying us into our high ticket offer. Once we have that and that's converting and that's a stable campaign in our business, that's when we're going to start looking at low ticket offers because we got to figure out all of these different pieces of the puzzle in order to actually make this thing turn out a profit every single time we get a customer. But keep in mind, the high ticket one really is about having a unique mechanism, a unique method, and selling them on you and what you can do for them. Whereas the low ticket offer is really about an impulsive purchase and really giving someone just an easy way to say yes so they can come in the door. And then you can actually make sure that your CPA is less than your AOV so that you can get new customers. You're not losing money while you're doing that. And then you can send them into your high ticket backend. So that's really the breakdown. Hopefully what I gave you was a framework and a way to think about what is the way you would want to approach cold traffic? If you're just getting started, you've got nothing working, but you do have a unique offer and you know exactly who you're going after. I'd probably start with a high ticket sales call funnel. Because again, that's where I tell everyone to start is because I think that is the best way to start having sales conversations, which is ultimately what you want. And then if you are more advanced, maybe you got some marketers on your team, maybe you already have different products that you can start to add into order bumps and upsells, or you've just got a good base of revenue coming in through your organic marketing efforts or your other ads or whatever it is, and you want to start doing low ticket. Low ticket is an awesome thing to have in your business when it works. At the end of the day, keep in mind, all of this comes down to you're just buying customers. With the high ticket funnel, the advantage is you're just trying to get conversations started with your ads, which is a much easier thing to do that I have found in my experience. With low ticket, you're giving people just a really easy way to say yes. Both are different paths, but they have the same goal, which is to get people into your high ticket program to maximize the LTV, the lifetime value of your customers. Both of these are just a system that needs optimization. So just like every funnel or every campaign that you would roll out, what we want to do is just get these running, start to get some data coming in on what's working, and then optimize them over time. And it definitely just takes work, right? So you're going to need a lot of ads. You're going to need to go through an iterative process. And both of these need really good follow-up because you're going to get people coming in the door who are not ascending into high value customers. And then you need to have a good follow-up system to make sure you're getting people to actually convert into high value clients. Because of that, you really need to keep track on what are your numbers. So know what are the numbers that you need to hit every single day in order to make all of this work. Depending on what funnel you're working at, you're looking at, what are your ad costs on the platform? What is your conversion rates through the funnel? And then what are your values that you're getting in terms of what people are paying you? If it's high ticket, it's pretty easy. It's your high ticket, cost to get started. And if it's low ticket, it's what is your AOV? And then what is the percentage of those people that are sending into your high ticket programs? Both of these can absolutely work. The fundamentals are there. It's more just about, now you have the skeleton and it's about figuring out what's the right offer for you and for your audience and for your brand. And then how are you going to make this thing work? Treat it like a system. Try to keep things as simple as possible because it's already complicated enough as it is. Know your numbers and then just run it, optimize it, and maximize for LTV over time. That's it. Hopefully you found this really helpful helpful? If you do, I have specific breakdowns on both funnels. So if you want to go high ticket and you want to dive deeper into that, check out the description. I got a video all breaking down my high ticket funnel. And if you want to go low ticket, check out the description. I've got a video breaking down a low ticket funnel step by step. Both of those are super valuable. So I'd absolutely check those out in the description down below. Also, if you want some help with all of this, I have a link down in the description below for how I work with people in my mentorship program. So I'm helping people with this every single day, set up these systems, get all this stuff working, and then use paid ads to get customers into your business. So all of that is in the link down in the description below. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, because that definitely helps me make more videos like this. It also helps me know what kind of videos you like me to make. So definitely let me know down in the description below. Also questions, you can drop them in the comments. Hopefully you found this valuable, and hopefully I will catch you in another video here soon.